What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about 5 credit cards that I think are really good for traveling around the world basically for free, right? And these are actually ones I use. Over here I do actually have my stack of travel cards. Yes, this is about 20 credit cards I have right here currently that I use for travel, for food and stuff like that, just to basically live a little bit more for free, right? But yeah, let's get into this. And by the way, all the cards that I am mentioning, besides 2 of these, I do own myself, so I do have personal input on these as well, which is helpful. And one of these I might maybe get, I'm not 100% sure, but let's basically just hop right into it. So the first one is the Amex Platinum Business. Now this one is basically, if you sign up, right, this is for a business account. So you kind of have to have a business in order to get it. And the spending, because it is a business card, is higher, but the points are great about it. So it's great. And this can basically, because I have the Centurion, but that is a personal, not a business. But if you want, you can launch your business into the Centurion level. And there are perks with this card, which I will be mentioning. But the most important one is that you do get 100,000 basically points, which you can very easily redeem for flights. So a flight from Salt Lake City, Utah to LA, which is about an hour and a half flight. It's really not that far. Depending on what you book it, I booked one once for 9,000 miles, right? Absolutely ridiculous price. So basically, at this point, right, I could be booking flights. Literally, I could book about 11 of those flights and be good on the points, right? So what you have to do in order to get those 100K points is you have to spend 10,000 plus an extra 15,000 all within 3 months. So what this means is you have to spend $25,000. Now the reason this is so high is because they are expecting it to be a business, right? So obviously businesses throw way more money out, but there is a way you can do this without spending a single dollar. But if you do want to go that route, I would personally prefer for you to get not the business one, but just the personal one, because that way manufactured spending is a much easier, right? If you guys don't know what manufactured spending is, it's basically you spend money, right? But then you basically, the way you spend it is you get that money right back, right? It's a confusing subject, but it's quite simple once you understand it. So one of the hacks that I did about 1.5 years, 2 years ago now, at this point was, I actually bought, I went to Walmart, right? I bought $3,000 worth of Visa gift cards, right? It was like a $15, $20 fee is what I had to pay out of pocket. And then from that point on, I just switched over to my American Express Serve. I believe that card is in here somewhere. Give me a moment. Yes. So that's basically this card, right? The Amex Serve, whatever. And that would basically just allow me to basically then go to Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, I can't remember which one, and then just basically swipe my Serve card, insert the credit card, the Visa debit card that I got, gift card wise, and then all that money transferred to my Serve, and then from there I transfer it straight into basically payment, and boom, within I would say 3 weeks, I spent $3,000 worth, and I got 60,000 miles. And it's very simple, right? And that is what you can do with the Amex Platinum. Now, it also does have other perks. You get $200 Uber credits, right? And the reason is because this does have a $550 annual fee. But the credits do, helpful, because you also get a $250 airline credit, right? You get to go into the lounges for free. You get to bring a guest to the lounges for free. It's very helpful. I was in San Francisco, right? They didn't really have a Delta lounge, but they did have, I believe it was an express lounge or whatever it was called, and the food there was amazing, right? I believe me and my friends, we finished about 2 bottles of champagne while waiting at the airport for a flight. So it is very helpful, right? And it was all free, because with that card I could get one person in, and my friend had one as well. So then I was able to get, so it was 4 of us, so we were all nice, and it was relaxing, right? So the food and the drinks on that trip alone, I believe, paid for the annual fee on that card. So it really comes down to what you want to do with it, right? And I'm not really a person that usually goes to the lounge. I arrive at the airport literally about 20 minutes before my flight takes off, due to the fact that I'm TSA pre, or clear depending on like the airport wise. And it's just one of those things that I really don't care. And I usually only have carry-ons because I mainly take like weekend trips or week trips. If it's longer than that, it's usually to a place where I have family or friends there, or a place of my own there. So it's very easy for me to travel light. And yeah, other than that, the next card on this list is actually the Delta Amex Sky card, which is the gold card I just showed you guys. By the way, here's pictures of it. And this card is actually better because you don't need a high enough credit score. By the way, with a platinum card, you only need to make $40,000. Everyone thinks it's like this high card. No, you need a decent credit score, you need a good income to debt ratio, and you only need to make $40,000 per year. So honestly, most Americans and most people worldwide can get this card, right? Just don't have a lot of debt. Make sure you've had a decent amount of credit time, but the rest of these cards are going to be easier to get. That was the highest and hardest one to get. But let's get right into this one. So the Delta Amex Sky Miles one is a gold card. It's super easy to get. You need like a 650 credit score to get. It's like one of the first ones I got. And it's very simple. You get 60,000 miles if you spend $3K within a month or within 3 months. And it has a 0 annual fee. Plus, the good part about this one is if you book through Delta's, like the Delta app, right, and you use your card to pay for that like $11.20 fee, it actually waives it from time to time because you're using that card to pay for that, which is super nice. So instead of being like, oh yeah, my flight only costs $11.20, no, my flight cost me $0. So it's very, very nice. And also when you refer people, I believe it's like I get 15,000 points each time. So I literally sent it to like a couple of my friends because they always want like my advice on like credit cards to get, especially one I did an interview with him one because he does like phone flipping, and he's like, hey, I want to travel here and here and here this summer. What cards should I use? And I just sent him a list and all the referral codes, and I ended up getting, I think it was like 70,000 extra miles within like the first 3 months as well. So by the time within like 2 months, I basically had around 130,000 miles from spending basically $20. So that was absolutely insanity, which is nice, and you don't need a lot to get this card. So it is a very good beginner card, and just make sure your income is much higher than your debt ratio. Honestly, just do not have credit card debt, and you can almost get approved for any card of these, and it's very simple, right? Just have a 600 or like a 700 credit score, and that's it, and no debt, and you will be fine, right? But obviously there are other ways to get it. And it also depends on like your income and stuff like that, but it's usually not hard to get credit cards. The next one on the list is the Capital One Venture Rewards card. Now this is one of the cards that I do not have, mainly because I just don't see a need for it. I might get it, and it's only because I'm not 100% sure about it, right? I already have a crap ton of credit cards, but you know what, maybe this one won't hurt. And it's only 50K points within 3 months. And that's if you spend $3,000. It has a $95 annual fee, but it is waived for the first year. So, in my opinion, if I were to get it, I would cancel it after a year just because of the fact I don't need it. And yes, canceling credit cards can affect your score because they do take away that credit line. But considering how high my credit line is, it will barely affect my score. It might affect yours a little bit higher. So be aware of that. In that case, for me, it's not going to bug me at all. I might maybe lose 2-3 points. Big woody-doo, right? It doesn't matter, but just be aware of that if you do apply for that card. The next one that I do have as well is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. You do get 60 points. This is actually one of my favorites. It's here's a picture, by the way. It's like titanium blue. It's super nice, right? But you get 60K points. It is an annual fee of $95, but there are ways to get that waived. It is a $95 annual fee, which you can get waived. It honestly only takes a phone call. It's very simple, right? And it's even simpler if you have a Chase bank account or other Chase credit cards, and you can get that fee waived like that. It's very, very simple. But this is a great one because the 60K points, you can turn that into dollars, or you can turn that into points, and you can actually, if you use that for travel points, that 60K, they will then double it, or I believe it's 1.5 it. Instead of 60, you either have 90 or 120 at the end, which is great, or you can just cash it in for $600. And presto manifesto, you already have the annual fee paid for basically fucking 6 years. So that's another way that you can do it. Great card. You need around a 700 credit score to get this one as well. Plus, it comes with like 2 times travel points if you spend it on restaurants, right? Stuff like that. If If you use investment apps, you get like 1.5 points, travel, stuff like that. It's a very good app, and you also get like like a broker or something, or like an assistant to basically. I never used it, right? What I actually said when they're like, oh yeah, your like financial advisor will then call you and maybe we can help you set up some stuff, right? It's only because I put $50,000 into this, so I can even leverage those points more and get another $600 out of it. Long story, and it worked. But basically, what I was saying is, I'm like, so the financial advisor is gonna call me, and they're like, yes, the financial advisor will call you shortly. I'm like, if he was such a good financial advisor, why doesn't he just use his own financial advice? The dude never called me. I never heard a peep from that man, right? I don't believe in financial advisors. Show me proof, do it yourself, then talk to me about it. If you're just giving me advice and you're not showing me proof, then please don't talk to me about it. Right? That's just the kind of person I am, and that's hopefully what you guys are as well. Don't take my advice if I'm not showing you proof that I have done this or that I have it or anything of that nature, right? And that's not 100% real. Please do not do that, right? Don't buy my shit. Don't buy my fucking courses if I can't show you that I have proven to you that I have made that money with that exact method, not like another method and then I just do bullshit together. No, please take that into advice. If there's anything I can teach you, always go off of proof. The next card on this is the Southwest. Southwest is a super cheap way to fly, right? And again, right, this is not like trying to get private, trying to get first class. No, these are just ways how you can fly cheaply, right? I don't really give two rat's ass if I'm in the very back row of the plane or if I'm in the very front row of the plane. As long as it costs me $0, I don't give two shits where I sit, right? I have enough stuff, I have enough crap, right? I usually travel with like my gym bag that my dad used when he played table tennis like 30 years ago, right? It has holes in it, everything. I really do not care. So with the Southwest, you get 40,000 miles. It isn't a $69 annual fee. This is a card that I do not have either, mainly to the fact because I don't really fly Southwest, and 40K miles might get me around 1.5, 2 round trip tickets somewhere in the United States. But yeah, and I don't want to pay that $69 annual fee because that card would not be worth it to me, and the credit line on that really wouldn't either because I feel like they might not give me such a high credit. The last one on this list, which is more like an honorable mention, is the Frontier. Now, if you guys do not know what Frontier is, it is honestly the cheapest way to fly like across the United States. Now, I am debating on getting this card right here, and that is because it gives you 40K miles and has 0 annual fee. The 40,000 miles is basically good for 2 round trip tickets anywhere in the United States, right? A very crappy way to fly, but who cares? So this is a great way. Honestly, you know what? I will be getting this card. And yeah, plus what I like about this card is, right, it doesn't really have many perks. Like, it doesn't give you a $200 Uber credit, right? Airline credit, food credit, stuff like that. No. But what it does is it will allow you to keep increasing the points or the miles that you basically get for it by referring people and by continuously flying with them. So it will give you more miles, right? Even if you book with miles. And what I mean by that is, like, if you book with miles and they see you're an active like user, then they will reward it. You guys can call them, and they'll basically help set up a reward system for how you can continuously get thousands of miles, right, without really spending money. So that's a great method, and that's just an honorable mention I thought I'd throw in here because it is mainly an airline card, and most of these cards that I did mention are either business or airline, like mainly travel, and that is because instead of like turning that into cash and then buying a trip, which is much more expensive, right? Because I literally, if you go on Delta right now, right? This is proven. If you go on Delta right now, you click pay with miles, right? Just type in, I'll use Salt Lake City to LA. If you do the basic, at 9,000 miles, right? If you do like the main, it's like 12, 15, and then like business, it's like, or like Comfort Plus is like 25, and then like first or business, it's like 35, 50, right? But then if you press, right, let's use basic as an example. It's 9,000, or like main, because that's the best one to use. So instead of 15,000 miles, now if I use miles plus cash, it would cost me about $100 plus like 9,000 miles. So I'm saving 6,000 miles, but it's costing me $100. Now, if you basically, or like even more than that, it might even cost me 12,000 or 11,000 miles, and then it's still going to cost me $100. Now, if I were just to do cash, it would cost me $200 and 0 miles. So like miles and cash is your worst option ever, and cash is much more expensive as well. So if you just use those to travel and you like traveling, that is a great way to do it. And the way you can do it is manufactured spending. Now, what I do to continuously keep racking up Delta miles is every single month I use a big chunk of my credit line. By that I mean 1/5, and I use it to buy basically wholesale items. So if you guys don't know what that is, that's like me buying about 200 calculators and then selling them and then getting them at around like 30% cheaper, and then selling each one at 10% cheaper off the resale price, and people being like, good, wow, I'm saving 10%, and I'm making that 20% profit, right? So I'm using about, I would say, 1/5 of my credit line each month for those wholesale items, which means each month I'm getting tens of thousands of miles, which is amazing, because each month basically I get one round trip ticket from Salt Lake City to LA, if not sometimes two, right? Depending on the month. So that's great, and as well as those wholesale items get me about 20% profit off of about 20-25% profit off of basically like my monthly income, which is great. And yeah, if you guys want a video on how to do that, hit me up. Plus the best part is I'm not using my own money. The thing about it is I do only have 30 days in order to basically get the items to my place, list them all, get them all sold, and then pay off that card. Worst case scenario, I go into my savings, pay off the card right away. But that's not the goal of it. The goal of it is to use the credit line in order to make myself more money. So use credit cards companies' money to make myself more money, right? And that way I also get more points, which means more free flights, which means more fun for Nick. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video helped you on deciding to get a credit card. Oh, by the way, the front tier, very easy. You need like 640 credit score. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to click the subscribe button and like this video, and turn on the notifications to get notified next time I post. Thank you guys so much for watching. Cue the outro.